All right. Hello and welcome everyone to our webinar where we would like to discuss how you can help modernize your customers' integration platforms. My name is Manfred. I am the go-to-market lead for all the Reddit integration and runtimes products for EMEA. And today I'm also joined by Luis Cortes. And Luis, maybe if you want to say a couple of words about yourself too.
Hi everyone, happy to be here with you. I am part of the application services business unit in Red Hat.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Luis. So really the reason of this call today is, as you will in it, that we have two products which you're probably very aware of, which is AMQ and Fuse, which in the version 6 will be end of life very soon. And we would like to use this fact so to have extended conversations with our customers and help them to modernize their integration platforms, and as part of that also generate more revenue. So what we would like to do now in the next 10 to 15 minutes is that we give a brief overview of the Reddit integration portfolio, and then I will hand over to Luis, who will talk about more details about AMQ and Fuse and how this whole upgrade process can work. So I would like to start my part with a quote from the famous chairman and CEO of General Electric, Jack Welch, who said once that if the rate of change on the outside exceeds the rate of change on the inside, the end is near. And I think this resonates very well, especially in today's times where we are really super fast with IT, and the rate of change when it comes to IT is super fast. But at the same time, we or a lot of our customers still use outdated or fairly old technologies and processes, which actually slows them down. And then when there are a lot of market changes on the outside, and if IT on the inside cannot keep up, then this is a challenge for a lot of our customers. One way to approach this, or one way to improve this, is by leveraging modern integration technologies. And thankfully, Red Hat does offer a range of these kind of technologies. So what is Reddit integration? In a nutshell, or in one sentence, the Reddit integration portfolio is a comprehensive end-to-end set of modern integration and messaging technologies with which we can help our customers to connect applications and data. There are a lot of use cases where or business cases where we can help our customers. The two most popular or most frequent that we see the most are legacy integration or application modernization. So if I come back to the first one, all of our customers, all of your customers have some sort of legacy. So these are all older traditional systems that will not be replaced overnight, but they still deliver a lot of value, and they need to be integrated with more modern and newer systems and applications. That's exactly one of the sweet spots that we have with our Reddit integration portfolio, where we can help to achieve exactly that. The second use case is application modernization. So this is basically everything that's sort of on top of the legacy or in addition to legacy, where customers more and more switch to cloud native applications or microservice-based applications, or at least mini services. And all these systems need to be integrated in an effective way too. And that's also exactly where we can help with Reddit integration. So how do we achieve this? One key differentiator that we have is that we follow a decentralized integration approach. So if you look at this chart at the moment on the left-hand side, we see a traditional ESB, Enterprise Service Bus, which is a very centralized approach. And you can see there right out of the gate where the problem lies. It's a bottleneck. It's a technological bottleneck because everything has to go through that ESB, but it's also an organizational bottleneck, which is exactly what we want to avoid. Coming back to Jack Welch's quote, we want to avoid bottlenecks. We want to stay agile and fast on the inside. So what we see now is that there's a lot of demand for agility in the market. So markets change quickly. So on the inside, we also need to find ways to change quickly too. And that's exactly our motivation of providing our Reddit integration portfolio. We want to move away from the centralized approach to a more decentralized approach. So we achieve this by using APIs heavily, and all our integration modules are not sitting in one place. They're not sitting in one ESB. You can still do this if you want to. If your customers decide to do that, you can still do that. but we offer the much more modern and agile approach of breaking up the ESB, having smaller independent integration modules, which you can deploy wherever they are needed, and they talk to each other, they integrate with each other by using APIs. So in order to achieve this, we have 4 main capabilities that are all part of our Red Hat integration bundle or Red Hat integration SKU. The first one on the left-hand side, the yellow bubble, is application integration. So we focus this one quite heavily on, of course, an open source project, like everything else at Red Hat is open source. And that's the very famous Apache Camel project, which includes a bunch of different integration patterns. So that's provided as one of the key capabilities within Red Hat integration. The second one is the gray bubble. That's APIs and API management. The key capability behind this one is 3Scale, which helps you to secure, control, manage, and even monetize APIs. But there are a range of other capabilities too that fall into this gray bubble. For example, API design, if you want to follow this contract first approach. The blue bubble then is events and streaming. So if you have, for example, a microservice-based architecture, these microservices need to talk to each other. There's a lot of traffic going on, and the best way to achieve that is by leveraging events. One key open source project that we use for that is Apache Kafka. And then last but not least, what is an application without data? So the green bubble is all about data integration, which is another capability that is provided through Red Hat integration. Now, so having summarized the key capabilities of Red Hat integration, what's in it for the customer? What's in it for your customer? So first one is, and the most important one is, it's a future-proof technology that is based on modern architectures and modern integration technologies. So what I mean by that is all of our complete Red Hat integration portfolio is cloud native. We currently work strongly with OpenShift as the underlying container platform, and that can be used to deploy your integration technologies and logic across different clouds in a cloud native way. The other one is microservices. All of our integration portfolio is microservice based, and also in addition allows you to build microservice based architectures that can be integrated with our technology. The second point is we are one of the very few vendors on the market that offer a complete end-to-end integration lifecycle support. So that means is if you choose our integration portfolio, we can cover the phase from design, for example, API design or contract design, all the way down to implementation, integration, testing, and then also exposing services, for example, through APIs or Kafka topics to your customers through a portal. Let's move on to basically the last point, which is because we are using underneath our Red Hat integration portfolio, mostly OpenShift, that means that we can help our customers to achieve this multi-hybrid cloud vision, where we can use OpenShift as one harmonization layer that abstracts from different cloud environments, helps our customers to stay independent from particular clouds. So really, this is it's just a call to action for you if you want to. Everything I said, we have a video which is linked here at the bottom of the slide, and we're going to share the slides, of course, after this webinar anyway. Where you consume what I just said in a bit more detail is a short video that explains how the various different capabilities that I explained work together and help you solve your customers' integration problems. Okay, and with that, Luis, I'm handing over to you.
Yep. Thank you very much, Manfred, for this overview. It's fascinating that you can do so many things with all of the different components in Red Hat integration. You can integrate applications natively in the cloud. You can work advanced cases like edge integration, Internet of Things. And at the same time, some customers are still in old versions of both Fuse and AMQ 6. So probably people in the audience are not familiar with the fact that in January 2022, which is exactly 6 weeks from now, these customers are running out of support. That means that to start with, if they want to keep support, they have to expand their usage of subscriptions by buying an end-of-life subscription that that we offer, of course, but that's going to be more expensive for them, and they will be still using an old technology. But that's not the worst thing. The thing is that if they were to use Fuse and AMQ7, they could be able to explore everything that Manfred was talking about, right? So explore cloud native integration, adopt containers, have advanced use cases like Kafka Streams, for instance, right? So I want to talk to you today about how we can make this transition to them and what we have in store to help you approach these customers and offer them these changes. Because the thing is, as I was mentioning, Fuse 6 and AMQ6 customers run out of support in 6 weeks. These customers are not ready to go to the cloud. They are not thinking about containers. And that means that we have limited options to expand their footprint with Red Hat and for you as partners to offer them services because they are using an old technology. You need to think that Fuse 7 was launched in 2014. That's 7 years ago, okay? Worst is that since they are not thinking about the cloud, we can't go and sell OpenShift. We cannot go and sell Ansible. We risk losing them as customers altogether unless we convince them to either adopt and extend it on what we call an EOLA subscription, extend the lifecycle support, or what we should be really thinking about doing, which is taking them over to Fuse 7 AMQ7, which is what I'm going to be talking to you in the next couple of minutes. There's a huge opportunity to do this. We have millions of years at stake in Fuse and AMQ6, which would give you the opportunity to go and open up conversations about Fuse 7 and Red Hat integration. You have a big opportunity to go sell migration services. We're seeing over and over how customers don't have the resources or the ability or the bandwidth to actually take on the migration by themselves, which means that you have a great opportunity to go to these customers, help them move from Fuse 6 to over to Fuse 7, and then expand into OpenShift and other Red Hat technologies, and even continue selling more services. In addition, if we are able to bring them to the new versions and open up their interest to cloud native application development, to the cloud, to containers, there's a huge opportunity also to go and sell new OpenShift subscriptions. And I am only talking about customers that have Fuse 6 and AMQ6. In addition, there's many other customers that have Fuse 7 and AMQ7 or Red Hat integration that are still not using OpenShift, and that's a big opportunity also for you. So let me show you how this promotion works. So what we're doing here is every Fuse customer and every AMQ customer, regardless of the version, right? But we're focusing now in Fuse 6. On their first renewal, they have the right. We are going to give them the same amount of cores, but with the whole Red Hat integration bundle. Okay. So let's say that you have a Fuse 6 customer that is going to renew in January or at some point in the next few days or weeks, or a Fuse 7 customer, right? They have the right to get on their first renewal the same number of cores for Red Hat integration. So if they have Fuse, let's say that they have 32 cores of Fuse, you can approach this customer and tell them, hey, we can give you the same amount of cores, but with Red Hat integration, which means that now you get to use Red Hat Fuse, Red Hat AMQ, AMQ Streams, you get to use Treescale API management, you get to use Red Hat runtimes, which is included in Red Hat integration, and use all of those products with the 32 cores that you already have, okay? Versus the current situation in which they would be using all those cores only for one single product. So you're giving them the opportunity to expand the adoption of integration technologies and effectively modernize their integration capabilities with Red Hat integration, and even more if you were able to add OpenShift into the mix. So that's the first thing. Now, the second key thing here is that in terms of messages, you can offer them many opportunities in order to first expand to full agile integration, talk to them about modern messaging, talk to them about Kafka streams, for instance. You know, many customers are really thinking about Kafka as the best way to do integration, especially when you have streams of data, high volume throughputs, etc. And depending on the version that they have, if they have a version 6, the message that you can use is modernize with Red Hat integration in OpenShift. If they are in version 7, or even if they have Red Hat integration already, right? Bring those workloads over to OpenShift. So there's many different ways in which you can approach these scenarios. In the partner portal, you have lots of enablement and documentation that you can use to reinforce these messages. But the essence here is that any Fuse and AMQ customer is entitled to get on their first renewal for the same number of cores, the whole package of Red Hat integration. And this is just the first step here. This is an example of what can happen when one of these accounts moves from 6 to 7, right? So if we approach them on the first month, we can offer them a number of advantages like the end of life promotion that we're offering here, right? Giving them the same course that they have for Fuse or AMQ, but with Red Hat integration. In the next few months, in the upper side here, you can see migration consulting services. So we have examples like a large hospital network in the United States where they have started this path from Fuse 6 over to Fuse 7. And in just a matter of a few months, the team has been able to help them with over $300,000 in consulting services, because this migration for their case had many camera routes. It was a complex migration, so they needed a lot of help. And the customer, even though they were trained in doing all these things, they just didn't have the bandwidth to actually support this. So that's migration consulting services that they were able to sell, which is exactly one of the opportunities that you have with this promotion. Moving forward, once the customer starts discovering everything that's out of the box with Red Hat integration, they start doing the migration with you. You can start talking to them about what would be the advantages of actually running these workloads straight in the cloud, straight with containers, with OpenShift. So there's an opportunity to cross-sell to OpenShift from Fuse, because the moment those workloads are already in Fuse 7, then you can them over to OpenShift and just have the perfect combination of modern integration with containers. As time goes by, customer will increase usage. Normally, they will use more the applications that you develop for them, that you integrated for them. They will have more and more needs because they will be happy what they are doing. So you have an opportunity to upsell more cores, which is also good for you because you get a margin on those sales, and continue cross-selling services around the new cores that you're selling to them, and continue to cross-sell application services products, right? So eventually you can turn a risky customer that is in Fuse 6 that didn't decide to move over to Fuse 7 into a multi-million euros customer by using all the different tools that we offer from the integration perspective and OpenShift perspective, starting with the end-of-life promotion we're talking about here. There's many reasons why partners are putting energy into this program, right? I think the first one has to do with, for once you can go to a customer and give them something for free instead of offering a service in exchange for the price, right? So we are doing that investment for you, right? So we are giving you the opportunity to go to these customers and tell them, hey, Red Hat is doing this promotion. You can now move from Fuse or AMQ over to the whole Red Hat integration bundle with all of the different products. And that's a great door opener, because you will now be able to first qualify the application portfolio of the customers, see what they're doing with Red Hat integration. Second is start exploring where they want to do next, when they want to go to the cloud, which type of work they need to go there. If they're in Fuse 6, they need migration to Fuse 7. Maybe they had old applications that they need to migrate to cloud-native runtimes and frameworks, like the ones that we offer with Red Hat Runtimes, which is included with Red Hat integration, etc., etc. And actually effectively go into step 2, which is help them to get ready with their cloud-native strategy. This is all about digital transformation, moving to the cloud, adopting containers as the basis of their workloads, right? So they cannot do that if they are still in Fuse 6. That's the big point here. So by talking to them about how they can go cloud native with the new versions of Fuse and giving to them a Red Hat integration for free for the same number of cores that they have now, you have a great way to talk to them into how they are going to be adopting a cloud native strategy. In addition, and here is when it becomes interesting from a revenue perspective, you have the opportunity to go and do lots of consulting sales, help them with migrations from Fuse to 7, help them with adoption of DevOps technologies, cultures, and strategy, help them with moving applications to the cloud and move them with, lift and shift approach, for instance, or struggle those monoliths and turn those Java applications into more modern cloud native applications, right? But there's a strong call to action, right? Remember, in January, we have a deadline for this. If the customer doesn't renew their subscription or doesn't with an ELS or moves over, they were going to lose support. So that's your big call to action. That's your urgency call to them, so they will do this. Once they are in this path, you have the opportunity to cross out, right? Other technologies, other services that you may be offering to them, right? Bring them to OpenShift, bring them to Ansible, etc., etc. And of course, we have the opportunity to also reduce the risk of customer loss. A customer that stays in an old technology means a lost customer for Red Hat, but also means a lost customer for you, right? And the thing is, it's not just for this migration, but also for OpenShift and the rest of technologies to come. And with this, I would like to open up the floor for questions. I want to remind you that Iveta Babulenkova in the partner is the EMEA partner for business development, is the person of contact in case you have any doubts here, or you can contact your Red Hat partner account manager, your PAM. And I would like to open the floor here for questions. So Manfred, Iveta, I don't know if we have any questions from the audience here.
Okay. Yep, I'm back here. So we collected a bunch of questions also before this session from the email conversations that we had and the email outreach. But before we go over those questions, so first of all, you have all our contacts here on that slide. So if you would like to reach out to us after this session, feel free to do so. If you have any further questions right now, feel free to put them in the chat. And we have one here by François. Which is about, do you have a typical effort estimation or example for a migration from Fuse 6? This is a great question, and of course it depends a lot on A, the current landscape of a customer, and B, where they want to go to. So what's their journey and their vision ahead. For sure, the new version of Fuse is backwards compatible, so they can basically use whatever they have right now pretty much. But I would always encourage to have this conversation with the customer and introduce the broader portfolio, just like Luis and I did now on this call, because the Red Hat integration portfolio goes way beyond just Fuse. I mean, of course, from Fuse 6 to Fuse 7, there are a bunch of technological advances that can be used. But then in addition, customers can also make use of API management, API design, messaging, streaming, and all of these integration capabilities that can help solve a lot of customer challenges. So the answer is it depends a lot, but I would definitely recommend to have this conversation with the customer and maybe even invite for a workshop where various different options can be explored with the customer, which can help you basically to sell more services on top. Okay, with that, let's take a look at some of the other questions and feel free to post some more if you would like to. One of the first questions that we collected, and I think Luis, that would be for you. What's the cost of extended support for customers beyond the EOL, beyond the end of life? So if customers do not decide to upgrade, but they would like to extend support, what's the cost of that, Luis?
Yep, that's thank you for that. So when a customer runs out of support, they have two options, right? One is definitely to drop support and just keep maintaining the software by themselves. So many customers prefer not to do that for many, many reasons. They don't want to have the responsibility of fixing. There may be regulatory issues where they have to keep certain levels of support that they just can't provide. And simply the risk to the business is just too big that they will not apply the proper patch or bug fixing, and they will have problems with the application, right? So that's one of the some of the many reasons why customers pay for support. If they, like in the case of Fuse 6, customer gets to January and they run out of support, what they can do is they can buy what we call an ELS subscription. ELS stands for Extended Lifetime Subscription, which means that they can extend the subscription for the old products that we no longer support formally, like Fuse 6 in this case, and we would keep supporting that, but that's going to have an important price on them. Because the price for that subscription is 50% in addition to whatever they pay for the subscriptions today, right? So just to give you an example, right? If a customer has Red Hat Fuse, let's say Premium, right? That is 16 cores. So the price for this, I think it's around 35,000 euros, something like that. So in this case, the customer would need to pay not only the 35,000 euros, but in addition, 17,500 more. So they will be paying 1.5% of 1.5 times what they're paying today. So 50% more. So that's why, and they would be still using an old technology, in this case, Fuse 6, right? So they would be stuck with an old technology. They would be paying 50% more than they're paying today, and that's a great reason to actually motivate them.
Excellent. Thanks for that answer, Luis. The next question is, do customers get access to API management features of Red Hat? I'll take this one. Just to be clear, we're talking about two versions that are going out of life, which is AMQ6 and Fuse 6. And if a customer migrates from either of the two up to Red Hat integration, then yes, they will get access to API management. So API management is one of the capabilities that is part of the Red Hat integration portfolio, and it will vastly increase the capabilities of a customer. So as you probably know, with Fuse, you have a lot of opportunities to build and expose the APIs, which can then be secured and managed by Freescale, by the Red Hat API management solution. The same is true with AMQ. As part of AMQ, we have AMQ Streams, which is our productized version of Kafka, with which you can expose topics. And also these topics can be secured by our API management. So yes, the answer is yes. If customers migrate to the Red Hat integration portfolio, they get access to API management as well. Okay, next question. How is Red Hat runtimes related to Red Hat integration? Luis, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, I'll take that. So Red Hat Runtimes is a bundle of products that we offer that is focused on helping developers to be more productive and to bring their workloads over to the cloud. It's a collection of products that starts with our classic JEE platform, which is JBoss Enterprise Application Platform, or EAP for short, that you may probably be familiar with. It's the most popular open source application server out there. And it includes a collection of cloud-native runtimes and frameworks that you can use to bring applications to a cloud-native environment and to run them natively. So runtimes includes things like Quarkus, which is being very, very popular in the market because it's like they're calling it the fast Spring Boot, if you will. It's a blazingly fast framework that will allow you to build applications very, very fast and to start them and collapse them in fractions of a second, and with very small memory footprint. So it's ideal for Java-based applications that need to run in microservices environments. We also support things like Node.js, which is very popular, of course, and you know about that. We support Vertex and within these cloud-native runtimes and frameworks. And runtimes also includes things like Red Hat Data Grid, which is an in-memory data store that will enable you to speed up the performance of data-intensive applications. Now, all of this and more, like Red Hat SSO, is included within Red Hat integration. And that's the connection that I think this person is looking for, right? So the thing is, it doesn't make sense anymore to think about application development without application integration. That's basically the point. Every application interacts with something these days. Interacts with the back of the systems, interacts with authentication system, has to connect and download data from here or there. So every application needs connectivity, needs integration with something. That's why we are including Red Hat runtimes, all of these runtimes and frameworks I just mentioned and more within Red Hat integration to provide developers with a full toolbox so they can find everything they need from not only building their traditional application or cloud native application, but also up to integrating things like microservices communication, for instance, or things like Kafka Streams.
Okay, thank you, Luis. Okay, next question is Kafka part of AMQ? So yes, we mentioned this earlier to some degree. So Kafka is an open source project, super popular at the moment by Apache, which is basically an event streaming framework. It was first developed and invented by LinkedIn, but now it has contributors from all over the world. And we use this open source project as well, and it's part of our AMQ product. It is a sub-product within AMQ, and we call it AMQ Streams. And in extension to that, if customers use Red Hat integration, they also get access to AMQ, and they also get access to AMQ streams. Okay, I'll also take the next one, which is, can customers also upgrade just from Fuse 6 to Fuse 7 without the whole Red Hat integration package? So yes, the answer is yes, a customer can upgrade just from Fuse 6 to Fuse 7, but there is actually no real reason, there's no good reason why a customer would actually do this. It's exactly the same price. So if a customer upgrades from Fuse 6 to Red Hat integration, it's exactly the same price as if they would upgrade from Fuse 6 to Fuse 7. But in addition, they get a lot of different capabilities like we discussed in this call. So a customer would get not only the new version of Fuse 7, but also access to AMQ, API management, and the whole portfolio. So it's good for the customer because there's a much wider range of capabilities, but it's also good for you as a partner because you can start to have completely different, wider, broader conversations with your customers. You can up and cross sell to other capabilities, and you can also sell more services. So I would only highly recommend to migrate a customer from Fuse 6 or AMQ 6 to the broader Red Hat integration bundle. Okay, I think this one is another one for you, Luis. Please recap the details of the grandfathering rules.
Yes. So basically, in piggybacking on what Manfred just said, we increased the prices of Fuse and AMQ last year. Early, yeah, exactly a year ago, around October, November last year. So the price of both Fuse and AMQ is the same price as Red Hat integration bundle, right? Now, to make it more sweet for customers that were actually thinking about moving to the bundle, but they didn't, that were stuck in old versions, but we may be considering to move, we decided to provide this, what we call grandfathering rules, which basically means that any customer that has a subscription to either Fuse or AMQ, and for the same number of cores and only for one renewal, we're going to be giving them Red Hat integration for the same number of cores that they have today. Okay, so if a customer has 32 cores of Fuse 6, they are entitled to renew those cores for Red Hat integration for the same price that they paid for Fuse 6 at the time. Okay, so we are not increasing the price there. That's the basic grandfathering rule. This provides a great advantage to customers because now they get to use all those cores, but with the whole range of products that we just mentioned before, Red Hat integration, Red Hat runtime, which is included in integration, etc., and allows for an easier transition into the new versions and into the new bundles. Any purchase in addition after that would be at the regular list price. That's the basic for grandfathering.
Okay, great, Luis. So I think let's cover one more question. I think that's also for you, Luis, which is another question that was asked by one of our partners. Some of the current contracts will run until the end of 2022. Do customers also need to upgrade already in January 21, or can they wait until their actual renewal date, which in that case would be end of 22?
Right. So, okay, that's a good precision. So customers can upgrade to Red Hat integration at any point within their subscription, but only for one time. Okay, so they can do it in January 2022. They can do it in December, whenever their contract expires, right? So they can decide when they do this, and they can start at any point before the end of their subscription. When the subscription expires, they need to either go to an ELS the day before the subscription expires, go to Red Hat integration and take advantage of this, which I think is kind of it's basically a no-brainer, because at the end of the day, between staying in Fuse 6 and paying ELS, or moving over to the whole Red Hat integration package, and you having again 3 years, whatever the term was, for the same price, I think it's totally a no-brainer. But it's a conversation that is worth having. So they basically, in a nutshell, they can do this. They can adopt Red Hat integration at any point before their subscription expires.
Yeah, thank you very much, Luis. So I think generally the recommendation here is, in that particular case, yes, you have time to have this conversation with the customer, but we recommend to have this conversation as quickly as possible, because it may take some time to actually introduce and convince about the benefits of the new technologies, of the broader bundle, and explain the concepts. But it's definitely worthwhile, and it only has benefits. Not just for you as a partner, but also for the customer, and to create this trusted relationship on the long run. So we would recommend to have this conversation as quickly as possible, even though the renewal date is not yet around the corner.
Yep.
Okay. I think this is a good point to conclude this session. We will share the recording, we will share the slides, and again, you have all of our 3 contact details on that final slide here. If you have any questions in the future, please feel free to reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to help. And with that, I would like to thank you very much for your participation, and I would like to wish you a great day. Thank you very much, and goodbye.